this book is mostly about Darcy learning, but then I come in about halfway through. You know, it wasn't easy for me to do this because it lays out my karma right there on the table for you to see everything. And it isn't pretty. You know, one of the things that happens is when Darcy, he had to have a lifetime without me because we were so connected. That's another thing I want you to know, that you and your life guide are bonded. You have had experiences with that entity before, in past lives probably, on other planes perhaps, but you are bonded. That entity knows you so well and loves you immensely. So when he remembered me, he almost, he was like, whoa, where is she? Because we met in Egypt. I was an astrologer to the pharaoh, so they tell me. But I believe it too, because astrology comes naturally to me. I'm an astrologer too, among other things. And he was my student. He was 5 years my junior, and he was my student. And we ended up working together as healers in the healing schools there. But he said to his mentor, Sotral, who you'll meet, wait a minute, where is she? Why isn't she here? She was my teacher. And they said, well, she got herself in a little bit of trouble, a little bit of karmic trouble. So he keeps asking to see me and asking to see me. So about halfway through the book, my lifetime as an orphan kid. My parents died on the voyage from Livorno, Italy, and I ended up on the shores of New York as an orphan and put in an orphanage. Not very pleasant conditions in 1908. And so basically they kind of, I get killed so that my soul can go back with Darcy and start learning about what I'm here doing today. Yes. I'm so happy. My message is pretty joyful. All right, so I have always been a seeker and always interested in things, but until Darcy started talking to me, then this whole thing started to unfold. I was 43. I've been in radio all my life. I'm still in radio. They just made me general manager of a new community radio station, as if I don't have enough to do. And I'm also a lead singer of a band, so I'm kind of busy. But at any rate, I had just gotten fired from another radio job. Terrible business, especially for women, very unstable. You don't get the numbers, or they change the management, and the management wants to bring in new people. Anyway, I had just lost a job, and I was 43, and I had a bad back injury. Sometimes that goes with financial woes, right? Lower back. And I thought, well, this is it. What is there in this life to hold on to? I mean, my dad, he had a job where he had security, he had a pension and all that, and there wasn't anything like that for me. And then one day I'm doing the dishes, and if you haven't read I lived in an old pre-Civil War house with no running water. It had one plug for electricity. So with a bad back, I had to pump the water, right, into a kettle, bring it over onto the wood stove, stoke the wood stove to heat it up to do the dishes. So I'm getting myself ready to do that, and all of a sudden I hear him talk to me, and he says, well, why don't we listen to classical music today? You never listen to classical music. And I said, hello? And I knew it wasn't me saying that. And it was a male voice, a British voice, and so I said, well, let's go with the flow here. So I being in music and radio for so long, I had a whole wall of vinyl. Of course, back then it was vinyl. And I didn't even look. I just reached up and pulled out the only Beethoven record I had. He said, well, I'd really like to hear Bach, but you only have Beethoven, so we'll listen to that. So I put it on, and we listened to it, scratches and all, and that was the beginning. And soon after that, I was given a book called Companions in Spirit. I think it's been reissued. It's by Leah Maggie Garfield. And she's had spirit guide contact her entire life, her mother, her grandmother. And so I read it and started to understand what was happening to me. And in it, they give a grounding and clearing meditation just so that you can, so you don't float away. Because once you start doing this work, you can be up in the ethers very easily. So I started working with Darcy.